Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. We're arriving at our destination shortly.
It always gets me amped up, man. Always gets me amped up, man. What a day. What a day. My God, there's a lot of shit going on out there. Welcome, everybody, to the latest episode of the Airplane Show. My name is Greg. I'm going to be your internet pilot on this here episode as we are sitting here at Pointe-A-Pitre, Guadeloupe, getting ready to take our St. Barths Executive Tecnam P-2012 Traveller to St. Barths and the legendary St. Barths approach. So I'm doing something new here with this channel. I'm going to start covering some current events because somebody has to do it, because there's a lot of shit going on that if you're not in the know, you don't know what's going on. But Obama, Barry O Biden, I call him Barry O, his husband's Mike, good old Big Mike. Big Mike got some big hands, man. You ever seen his wife's hands? My God. Anyways, he could be getting arrested here pretty soon. I doubt it's going to happen, but he was behind the Russia hoax 2.0 with Trump back on his first term. And also, I called it years ago when these Fauci Ouchies first came out. There's something funny going on. Finally, it has been proven that PHIZER lied to the world. We have proof of that. So now this here with
sent an email to the intelligence community with the subject.
Let me see if I can rewind this so we can watch it from the beginning.
On Russia election meddling.
You know what? I don't know how tall she is, Caroline Levitt. She's like probably like 4'11". I don't know how tall she is, but man, she's thick as a motherfucker, dude. I saw a picture of her, and that booty of hers, my God, you could put like a drink on the back of it. You know what I'm saying? Like you just put a drink like right on top of it. Look at that. Look at my Mountain Dew. Cool. I mean, obviously because it's green, but that's cool. I never like looked at the bottle before. It's like, oh, look, there's nothing in my bottle. Maybe that's how Boogie gets away with it. Oh, I'm drinking water. Got this green screen. You can't see what he's drinking. Anyways, Caroline Levitt, man, she thick as a mug. Anyways, Tulsi Gabbard gonna come up here and lay out why Barry O should be perp walked, to be honest. But we see what happens. Let's go ahead and play this.
What they found is troubling. We found irrefutable evidence of Russian meddling, which the Director of National Intelligence just confirmed for all of you, that Russia was trying to sow distrust and chaos.
Oh, but let's start at the beginning then.
Who elected Donald Trump in that election in November of 2016. They worked with their partners in the media to promote this lie,
right.
ultimately to
we'll
undermine the legitimacy of President
Let me go
Trump
ahead and start working on this plane, getting us going on this here trip.
Coup against him and his administration. We're here today because the American people deserve the truth, they deserve accountability, and they deserve justice. The records that we released on Friday that were ODNI records, Senator Chuck Grassley's release on Monday of what is known as the Clinton Annex, which was an appendix to the Department of Justice Office of Inspector General's 2018 report, as well as the House Intelligence Committee's majority oversight report that we're releasing today, all come back to and confirm the same report. There was a gross politicization and manipulation of intelligence by the Obama administration intended to delegitimize President Trump even before he was inaugurated, ultimately usurping the will of the American people. I'm going to go over the key findings from the House Intelligence report, which investigated the claims that were made by an intelligence community assessment ordered by President Obama and published in January of 2017. First, Putin's principal interests relating to the 2016 election were to undermine faith in the U.S. democratic process, not show any preference of a certain candidate. In fact, this report shows Putin held back from leaking compromising material on Hillary Clinton prior to the election, instead planning to release it after the election to weaken what Moscow viewed as an inevitable Clinton presidency. In the January 2017 intelligence community assessment that President Obama ordered, John Brennan, who was CIA director at the time, and the intelligence community intentionally suppressed intelligence that showed Putin was saving the most damaging material that he had in his possession about Hillary Clinton
circuit breakers
until after her potential and likely victory. The report goes into great detail about the information that Russia and Putin had, on Hillary Clinton, which included possible criminal acts.
They all look like they're
in secret meetings with multiple named U.S. religious organizations in which State Department officials offered, in exchange for supporting Secretary Clinton's campaign for the presidency, significant increases in financing from the State Department.
Okay, yeah, that all looks good.
They also had documents that showed patronage of the State Department.
Oh, I forgot about these things.
Employees who would go and support Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. There were high-level DNC emails that detailed evidence of Hillary's, quote, psycho-emotional problems, uncontrolled fits of anger, aggression, and cheerfulness, and that then Secretary Clinton was allegedly on a daily regimen of heavy tranquilizers.
Here's our checklist right here.
Then CIA Director Brennan and the intelligence community mischaracterized intelligence and relied on dubious substandard sources to create a contrived false narrative that Putin developed a quote-unquote clear preference for Trump. Brennan and the IC misled lawmakers by referencing the debunked Steele dossier to assess quote-unquote Russia's plans and intentions, falsely suggesting that this dossier had intelligence value when he knew that it was discredited. The intelligence community excluded significant intelligence and ignored or selectively quoted reliable intelligence that contradicted the intelligence community assessment's key findings on Putin's alleged support for Trump. Including this intelligence reporting would have exposed the ICA's claim as implausible, if not ridiculous. The intelligence community assessment omitted reliably sourced information, such as how some Russian intelligence officials were quote-unquote planning for candidate Hillary Clinton's victory, while others assessed neither Trump nor Clinton would respect Russia's interests.
I switch one.
As was reflected in the ODNI documents that we released on Friday, multiple intelligence community assessments released in the months leading up to the November 2016 election concluded that Russia had neither the intent nor capability to impact the outcome of the U.S. election.
Where did our
On December 5th
tablet go?
of 2016, the FBI and ODNI gave the House Intelligence Committee its first post-election classified briefing, in which there was no mention of Putin aspiring to elect Trump by either agency. The Presidential Daily Brief, drafted on December 8th of 2016, stated that no Russian or criminal actors impacted vote counts. This document was pulled just hours before it was to be published due to quote-unquote new guidance. If it had been published, it would have been briefed to both President Obama and President-elect Donald Trump. On December 9th, 2016, a National Security Council meeting was called to gather President Obama's senior national security officials, which included CIA Director Brennan, then Obama DNI James Clapper, Susan Rice, and others. Following that secret meeting, DNI Clapper's assistant sent an email to the intelligence community with the subject line, POTUS tasking on Russia election meddling, tasking ODNI leaders to create a new assessment per the president's request.
Takeoff weight 3,600.
The House Intelligence Committee Oversight Report that we released today reveals that, quote, unlike routine intelligence community analysis, the intelligence community assessment was a high-profile product ordered by the President Obama. It directed senior intelligence community agency heads and created an intelligence community assessment limited to just 5 analysts using one principal drafter. This is not something that occurs in the normal path of producing an intelligence community assessment
that's close enough.
That reflects the views across the intelligence community.
Quantity.
The production of this intelligence community assessment was subject to unusual directives directly from the president and senior political appointees, especially the former director of the CIA, John Brennan. The House Intelligence Committee Oversight Report also shows how later that same day, on December 9th, Brennan ordered the publication of quote-unquote substandard reporting on Russian activities, which had previously been withheld from publication of prior assessments because the information was judged, quote, to have not met long-standing publication standards. Some of the information later used in the Obama-ordered assessment over the objections of veteran CIA officers was, quote-unquote, unclear or from unknown sources. The Intelligence Committee's Oversight Report reveals that CIA Director Brennan overruled senior CIA officers who challenged the Obama-ordered intelligence assessment, stating, quote, we don't have direct information that Putin wanted to get Trump elected.
Let's go ahead and get our
Yet, the Obama-directed assessment was published on January 6, 2017, which explicitly stated, quote, we assess Putin and the Russian government aspired to help President-elect Trump's election chances, when possible, by discrediting Secretary Clinton and publicly contrasting her unfavorably to him, end of quote. The CIA and FBI, then led by John Brennan and James Comey, expressed high confidence in this judgment, while the NSA expressed moderate confidence. Yet, as the report we released today shows, the ICA, the Intelligence Community Assessment, did not cite any report where Putin indicated helping Trump win was an objective. The opposite is true. With regards to the Steele dossier, we now know that one of the source documents that the Obama administration used in the creation of this intelligence assessment in January of 2017 was none other than the discredited, unverified Steele dossier. The House Intel report states, quote, contradicting public claims by then CIA Director Brennan that the dossier was not in any way incorporated into this intelligence assessment. The dossier was referenced in the intelligence assessment's main body text and further detailed in a 2-page assessment annex. John Brennan lied, and he denied using this dossier in this intelligence assessment that President Obama ordered because he knew it was discredited. It was a politically motivated, manufactured document.
I don't think I'm going to be able to put in
He directed senior CIA officials to use it anyway. CIA officer told the House Intelligence Committee staff as they investigated this, quote, the director of the CIA, John Brennan, refused to remove it.
SKB.
And when confronted with the dossier's many flaws, responded, quote, yes, but doesn't it ring true? Even the bipartisan Senate Select Committee on Intelligence report published in 2020 criticized the FBI's handling of the Steele dossier, noting its completely unverified nature and purposeful sidestepping of intelligence community procedures in its use. Now, President Obama, Hillary Clinton, John Brennan, James Clapper, James Comey, and others, including their mouthpieces in the media, knowingly lied as they repeated the contrived narrative that was created all this for years, January
but we were always called conspiracy theorists.
Intelligence community assessment,
you know,
with high confidence,
you're lying. There's no way they would do that.
John Brennan, as CIA director, stated in a memo to his agency staff in December of 2016, saying, quote, there is strong consensus among us on the scope, nature, and intent of Russian interference in our presidential election. This was reported by
Our flight
NBC
plan
News,
is done.
confirming that Brennan, along with James Clapper and James Comey, agreed with the CIA's assessment
go ahead and
that Russia intervened to help Trump
finish getting
win
our
the presidency.
airplane started.
As Obama's Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper was tasked with overseeing the creation of this assessment
fuel
in
selector,
January of
let's check them.
2017 by President Obama, and he expressed confidence in its findings. In a 2018 interview with
Left
the
and
Harvard
right.
Gazette, he talked about how he provided Trump with the same
Verify.
classified assessment that President Obama received,
On green arc and
which
then off.
included the high confidence judgment that Putin directly ordered the hacking and election interference. Clapper then went on to add, I think they, the Russians, actually influenced the outcome.
All right.
This is a brief summary of the details that you'll find within the House Majority Staff's report in their investigation into the Obama-directed January 2017 Intelligence Community Assessment that leads us to the very same conclusion that we announced in the release of our documents on Friday. The implications of this are far-reaching and have to do with the integrity of our democratic republic. It has to do with an outgoing president taking action to manufacture intelligence, to undermine and usurp the will of the American people in that election, and launch what would be a years-long coup against the incoming President of the United States, Donald Trump. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Tulsi. And we do want to take questions on this topic while the director has time for this topic. She will leave. I'm happy to take questions on other matters after that. But if anyone has questions for Director Gabbard, you're welcome to ask them. We'll start with our new media seat as always. Emily, go ahead.
Thank you. And Director
Main
Gabbard,
battery
this one is for you.
recharging.
Do you believe that any of this new information
All right, set for
implicates
1,000,
former President Obama in criminal behavior?
We
on the
have
throttle.
referred and will continue to refer all of these documents to the Department of Justice and the FBI to investigate the criminal implications of this.
For even former
The
President
evidence,
Obama?
correct. The evidence that we have found and that we have released directly point to President Obama leading the manufacturing of this intelligence assessment. There are multiple pieces of evidence and intelligence that confirm that fact.
Ed, go ahead.
Director Gabbard, thank you. So just two questions to begin on that. The president yesterday, you've inferred that the former president helped lead a coup. Based on what we now see, do you believe President Obama is guilty of treason?
All right, that all
I'm
looks
leaving
good.
the criminal charges to the Department of Justice. I am not an attorney, but as I've said previously,
we gotta get that oil
when you
light
look
off.
at the intent behind creating a fake manufactured intelligence document that directly contradicts multiple assessments that were created by the intelligence community, the expressed intent
Core
and
taxi,
what followed
cross-feed.
afterward can only be described as a years-long coup and a treasonous conspiracy against the American people, our republic, and an attempt to undermine President Trump's administration.
The Senate Intelligence Committee spent several years looking into this.
All right, cross-feed is
and
on.
unanimously agreed in a bipartisan fashion. Secretary
All right, let's get
Rubio
ready to
was a
go.
member of that committee, that there was no political interference. There was a years-long Justice Department investigation.
Let's
into this as well,
actually check.
that also concluded no political interference. So help us from a 50,000-foot level explain, what do you now have that refutes those two assertions?
I will encourage you, in my role as the Director of National Intelligence, my job, again, as I said when I came into this role, was to make sure that we are telling the truth to the American people and that we are ensuring that the intelligence community is not being politicized. So I'm not asking you to take my word for it. I'm asking you in the media to conduct honest journalism and the American people to see for yourself in the documents that we've released now, close to 200 pages, that point in multiple references, multiple examples, to include comments that have been made by senior intelligence professionals who are some still working within these agencies today that confirm the conclusions that we have drawn, that President Obama directed an intelligence community assessment to be created to further this contrived false narrative that ultimately led to a years-long coup to try to undermine President Trump's presidency.
And did you believe that those two previous investigations missed that or covered it up?
I'm telling you to look at the evidence.
Autopilot.
Look at the evidence, and you will know the truth.
Trim.
John?
Okay, I think that all looks good. Taxi. Or takeoff. Fuel pumps on. Transponder I don't care about. Takeoff.
We released them on Friday of last week, the first
We already
tranche,
checked
yes.
all that.
This isn't the first time that President Trump has been president of the United States. He was president from 2017 to 2021.
Engine,
Couldn't
rotate
prior
flaps.
DNI
Okay, I think we're okay.
under President Trump have declassified these documents? And why didn't that DNI do
Let's
that
get
at that
flight
time?
director on.
I can't speak to what happened there. There were several DNIs
Put our
under
flaps
the
down
first
for
Trump
takeoff.
administration. President Trump
I
faced
could have
many
sworn that we needed
challenges,
to turn
from
off
those who were
some of
working
this
in the
stuff
government who
on
sought to
takeoff.
undermine
Doesn't that
his
say that
presidency.
somewhere?
That's been clearly
Hold on a
detailed.
second.
What I can speak to is the fact that this was one of the first things that we started to investigate here within this Trump administration and have released the
that's
results
not the right thing.
upon the conclusion of our investigation.
And then my second question has to do with what intelligence agencies around
Okay,
the
take
world
off.
have said about Russia, that they have tried to influence elections in the United States, in France, in Germany, in the
Engine
UK.
start.
Do you disagree with that? Do you
Or
believe
take
that
off.
Russia is a
Auxiliary
bad
pumps on.
actor
We have those
as it relates to
on.
trying to
Yeah, air
influence
conditioner
elections?
and combination
I'll
heater
point
off.
back to the intelligence that
That's what I thought, and then we can put it back
President
on
Trump has ordered
afterwards. That's what I
declassified,
thought.
that we have declassified and released, that
Okay, off,
the
off,
intelligence
off.
reflects Russia's motives
Okay.
or to try to
So,
sow
get outta here.
discord and chaos within the U.S. election, which is a clear distinction from showing a preference for or against a specific candidate, which is what the Obama manufactured intelligence document alleges, that Russia preferred Donald Trump and tried to help Donald Trump get elected. Again, going back to the most important
I
point
can't
here,
use that,
with the intent to
disconnect the park and brake.
undermine the legitimacy of President Trump's election and therefore subvert the will of the American people who chose to send him to the White House.
Reagan.
Thanks, Director Gabbard, Reagan Race with the Daily Caller. You laid out that the documents revealed that the Obama administration did not publish a December 2016 presidential daily briefing that demonstrated that Russia did not steal the election. Trump was receiving these briefings at the time because he was president-elect.
All right.
Are you of the
So
view
that's
that
what we have
that
about Barry O.
information was
Now
kept
let's
out of the briefing
get to the
because
PHIZER
then
shit, because this
President-elect
was
Donald
absolutely
Trump wouldn't have
mind-blowing.
seen it?
Mind.
I don't have any documents
Blowing.
that speak to exactly what the new
And
guidance.
I've seen a lot of shit when it comes to COVID over the years, and I was just absolutely floored when I saw this. Interact.
Senator Hawley and Senator Schmidt for your kind introductions.
No, this is
and
not what I
support.
want. What the fuck, dude? Hang on, let me get the right I had the right URL in there. What the fuck? You Here it is right here. That made me yeah, dude. Fuck you.
Foot soldier.
Come on, man. All right, we'll go back. We'll here. Try this one again.
The people of Europe,
There we
if the
go.
forces of darkness prevail here. And what I administration.
Food and drug and
All right, so if you don't know Naomi Wolf, you need to learn about her. She's been on her soapbox for years now about these COVID shots, and she was a mainstream Democrat on all the quote unquote mainstream channels for years, and then she decided one night to put out a tweet when it was still Twitter about pregnant women and women having adverse reactions shot. With overnight, she was canceled. And then she started getting on Bannon's War Room and like Mike Lindell and Alex Jones and all that. And here we are today. And this is absolutely mind-blowing what you're getting ready to hear.
administration of the United
Oh,
States
I do have to say,
release
sometimes the audio is fucked up. It's not me. It's just how it's recorded. And I think it's recorded like this on purpose. But yeah, just let's listen.
these Pfizer papers, and Pfizer, respectively FDA, then not wanting to do that, petitioned a court, and they wanted the judge to allow the FDA to keep the papers under wraps for 75 years. Interestingly enough, though, there have been talk in Germany this April the so-called Freedom of Information Act, so any citizen can ask the government for information. And there was a discussion about abolishing that right for the citizens altogether. Now that's a big tell. So they no longer want the citizens to even know what the government should be publishing. But that is just a side note. So anyhow, the FDA wanted the Pfizer papers to be locked up for 75 years.
75 years. That's originally what Pfizer wanted the papers to be locked up for.
Then they offered.
If you had nothing to hide, why would you want them locked up for 75 years? I mean, what the actual fuck?
500 pages per month, which in essence would have taken 75 years to get all of the paper out, because it was in total roughly 450.
All right, we're just going to go to 6,000 feet on this flight.
Well, the judge didn't want to have any of that, and he ordered the FDA, they would have to release 55,000 pages per month. And that was over a period of, I think, like 1 year or 1.5 years, and then it was all there. And then our very honorable guest tonight, Dr. Naomi Wolf, your concern was that it would just be lost in history, as you said earlier, because there is no way that layman can sift through 450,000 pages of highly technical information. So what Naomi managed to do was to gather, how many? 2,000, 3,000? 3,500 volunteers globally sifting through that information and putting all of the information together for everyone to see and everyone to read. Like I said, it is the smoking gun. We have the information. And I just remember today...
Wait till you hear these numbers. Especially when it comes to pregnant women and kids.
July 25th.
I mean, even if you like,
2022,
even if you don't like kids,
I made a public
your jaw's gonna hit the floor.
An event like this, and I will read to you what I said 3 years ago. This mRNA campaign will go down in history as the biggest medical scandal ever, and moreover, it will go down as the biggest crime committed against humanity. Back then, anyone could have known if you wanted to know. All you had to do was go through the adverse event reports in the United States, and you would have found out that within the first 7 months of the rollout of the mRNA injection, there were 20 times more serious adverse effects, and there were 23 times more deaths reported than of all of the other vaccines combined ever since they have been rolled out in the 70s.
Yep.
I repeat, 7 months of mRNA injections, 20 times more serious side effects, and 23 times more deaths reported than all of the other vaccines
combined in the history of,
in a period of
vaccinations.
Years. This is the lie that people have been literally pushed down their throats. They have been threatened. They have been ostracized. They have been criminalized.
They've been taken off the medical boards for speaking up. There's a doctor in Oregon that lost his medical license for speaking up about this stuff.
That I made this comment 3 years ago.
All because Pfizer and these other drug companies want to keep getting rich.
Your book.
And the politicians, they want to continue to get rich.
Pages,
it's all about money. They don't care about us.
The very same thing.
They never have. It's all about money.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say never. When government first started, I'm sure they cared about us.
I will be repeating
now that it's been getting corrupt over the years.
To come. So anyway, but you didn't come here to listen to my boring remarks here. I'm pretty much sure you came all to see and hear and listen to Dr. Naomi Campbell. Campbell.
Thank you.
Can you imagine? Great, isn't it great? Dr. Naomi Wolf, of course. And I really have to thank you. You put in a lot of work. I mean, just flipping through the pages.
Why is the
so much
hang on? Why is our flight
information.
path in
But
the
to
HUD?
compile
I mean, in
and
the
put it together for laymen to
this is not what I
understand
want.
and read,
Assistance.
to really understand the massive lie that we have been subjected to. And I would very much like you to join me in welcoming the great
Not sure why
Naomi
it's in there.
Wolf. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you so much. Can you hear me loud and clear if I sit
Big
this
old power
distance?
set.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, MEP Anderson. Thank you to your so hospitable staff who has welcomed me and my husband,
Nuts.
Brian O'Shea, to Brussels. And thank you all for taking time from your incredibly important work to sit with us here. Thank you to those watching online. I just want to say before I begin that it's extremely moving to me to be sitting in this place, in the heart of Europe, and meeting so many people
Told you about
from
the
different political perspectives.
volume. I mean the
different in many ways. I consider myself a liberal.
audio. It's going to be a little messed up.
I've been a Democrat. I advised the Clinton team and Vice President Gore in his election campaign, but that really doesn't matter. You know, Ms. Anderson, MEP Anderson, or with other MEPs whom I've met here, their colleagues from whatever political party, because what's happening right now in Europe and the United States and worldwide is an extraordinary historical moment. It's related to what I'm going to tell you, but all over the world, people are realizing that what divides us in policy terms or political labels is not nearly as important as our fundamental core values as Europeans, as North Americans, people around the world who love freedom and individual human rights, the rule of law.
I'm at 120 feet.
What was targeted ultimately by these injections as it's being targeted in other ways. And I will explain that. But fundamentally, whatever the political party is of people I'm meeting here, we are brothers and sisters. We are allies because, first of all, we need to save European democracy. We're saving American democracy. We need to save democracies, rule of law, and free speech around the world. So I just want to say that before we begin.
Fuel pumps
Shall
on
I launch
auto.
right in? All right. So some of you may know who I am. I've been a public figure since I was 26 years old, and others may not. I'm a long-standing best-selling feminist author. I've written 9 best-selling books, translated in European languages of many kinds, and I was a Rhodes Scholar. I got a DPhil at Oxford University in English literature. I'm not a medical doctor, but I am a journalist. I've appeared in every major news site. I was a columnist for The Guardian and for the Sunday Times London and so on. But all of that didn't matter. In June of 2021, when which covered women's reproductive health, when I noted that we're reporting eyewitness accounts of their bodies, which is, as a feminist, you're supposed to be allowed to listen to women about their bodies.
And it's true. It's always been, what did they say?
Menstrual damage.
My, what's it called?
Received the mRNA injection.
My body, my choice, whatever.
And literally, that was my post. And overnight, I was canceled from X, Twitter at that time, canceled from Facebook, YouTube. My bio changed around the world simultaneously, which is interesting. I didn't think AI.
You had a what to visit my channel? What'd you say?
Went from
What'd you say?
Rhodes Scholar, doctorate at Oxford to conspiracy theorist.
Hang on, I can't see the whole thing.
Overnight, every major news outlet that had published me and featured me for 40 years.
You had a feeling. Well, thanks for stopping by, dude. I appreciate it.
Literally voiceless.
You're more than welcome to stop by anytime.
That doesn't really matter what happened to me personally, except that a warning signal that women around the world were entitled to have received
this airplane
about their
doesn't
own
look as good as it used to.
reproductive health was intentionally silenced. And I found out later during lawsuits brought by the state's attorneys general of the state of Missouri and of Louisiana that it was
I don't know why these boxes are on.
Voted the Biden administration.
I don't have that turned on in the settings.
senior people at the CDC, the Census Bureau, which knows where I live, I'm related to.
Weather radar you can't turn
including
on.
Law enforcement agencies that had colluded to put pressure on Twitter and Facebook and other social media sites to silence my tweet and to discredit me. And that was very terrifying to find out the most powerful government in the world had singled you out. And by the way, we have a First Amendment in the United States, thank God. And two courts now have found that two settlements have found that my constitutional First Amendment rights were violated.
25.
And that the Biden administration had no legal right to silence the citizen, but that happened.
We'll do map 30.
So as a journalist, I realized that there must be a story here, because why go to so much trouble to suppress this simple tweet of mine? And in 2022,
there we go. Map 30, power 100, RPMs are 25.
Successful lawsuit by attorney Aaron Siri led
RPMs need to be about
the
2,000.
forced release of 450,000 documents from Pfizer in the custody of our FDA. Now, I was only being hosted at that time by Steve Bannon, the far right-wing commentator. Another example
I don't know if he's far right-wing,
on a lot of issues. I'm still a liberal, but he cared about what was happening to women and children. So I was talking on his show about these issues, and he said, these documents will be lost to history. Of course, you're going to convene a group of experts to go through them. And I said on the air, of course I am, not having any experience in doing that. But miraculously, 3,500 doctors and scientists did convene and worked for 2.5 years pro bono in service of humanity, but also out of love for science and medicine.
All right, we
to
are
read through these
pretty much right on point with the power.
Documents, technical documents, and to issue what are now
give it a little
105
more power.
reports. 50 of them are in that book, if you would kindly hold it up at some point. And we published them in real time. Now, before I tell you what's in the Pfizer documents, I just want to note that it's been 2.5 years since we began publishing these reports, and we have not received a lawyer's letter from Pfizer. So what is reported
does that tell you?
Is accurate. No one from Pfizer is telling us to cease and desist. It's accurate. And also, it's not my opinion. I just want to stress that. I'm not the author of this book. I'm an editor.
No, they don't have the approach chart in here.
Amy Kelly is the leader of the effort, my COO. But what's in this book are reports that link directly to the primary documents. So if you have any doubt about any conclusion in any of these reports, you can link, you can check the Pfizer documents and see for yourself what that primary document looks like. All right, so what's in the Pfizer documents? First of all, and I think this is very important for you as MEPs, Pfizer knew
I don't know what an
a
MEP
month
is.
into the rollout into the public of this injection, so November of 2020, that this vaccine did not work to stop COVID.
They knew.
And I want you to process that and absorb that. It means that
They knew.
everything that followed,
Everything.
the mandates, the lost jobs,
Exactly.
the businesses that had to close, the children not allowed
Military
to go back
getting
to school or
fired,
university,
nurses
if they
getting
didn't
fired,
take the shot, right?
people
The
getting
armed
canceled
forces compelled to
for
take
saying
the shot,
what they knew.
pilots compelled.
It's
All
disgusting.
of that followed the two-tier society, the
Fuck
suppression
the
of liberties,
globalists and the World
was
Economic Forum. Fuck y'all.
predicated
Bunch of bitches. Y'all gotta play
on
dirty
a
like that.
lie.
Don't worry. The
didn't
next time they put out a plague, it's gonna be worse. They're actually gonna kill a lot of
Pfizer.
people next time. Now that they got the nanotechnology in your body. See, COVID was all about. See, here's my thing. Let me
Efficacy
pause this
and
mug
failure.
for a second.
And the
Tell you
most
what my
common side
feelings
effect
are.
of getting vaccinated
And I think
is
I'm
COVID.
correct with this.
So
COVID was just a way to get the nanotechnology into our systems so they can control us. So when they decide to activate all the nanotechnology, it's already in our system. You understand? So to turning us into transhumanists, where we merge with technology, that I believe is what was in those shots, because there's a lot of graphene oxide in those shots, a lot of tech. You can look, there's studies that have come out that have shown the technology in them, like the nanobots. It's shit is crazy.
everything that followed was a lie. Second, they knew that the injection did not stay in your deltoid. I'm sure that Europeans,
like they said it was going to.
Probably through the EMA, the European Medicines Agency, like our FDA, or other public health entities, told people here, if you have side effects, it's likely to be chills, fever, a little fatigue. You may need to lie down. No, Pfizer knew that and they said that the materials stay in the injection site. They knew that was a lie. In fact, in the Pfizer documents, there are charts showing that the materials, the spike protein, the mRNA, the lipid nanoparticles, which is a petroleum byproduct, rather polyethylene glycol.
Oh shit, they moved. That's spooky as fuck.
Surrounding lipid nanoparticles.
She's not moving though.
And industrial fat. They didn't stay in the deltoid. They biodistribute within
very zombie-ish. Oh
48
yeah,
hours,
that is creepy as fuck, dude.
They leave the injection site and biodistribute to major organs throughout the body. They cross the blood-brain barrier. You may have noticed personality changes in some of your loved ones who took this injection. But they also accumulate in the liver, the adrenals, the spleen, the lymphatic system, and if you're a woman, they accumulate in your ovaries.
Nice little airplane.
And so this is an industrial fat accumulating in women's ovaries.
They did a good job when they put this thing together.
The first injection accumulates in your
doesn't
ovaries.
look great
the
tonight.
second injection more accumulates in your ovaries. Our experts could not find any mechanism whereby this material left the body, male or female. So by the first booster, people are already reporting when they do surgery on vaccinated women that they're fully blocked ovaries, as well as other kinds of damage. Pfizer knew that.
Pfizer knew it.
Pfizer knew that they had to hire 2,400 full-time staff in order to process the reports of serious adverse events.
How many people did they have to hire? That's crazy, dude.
And indeed, within the Pfizer documents, it's a period of time. End of November 2020.
They didn't have a St. Bart's livery anywhere.
2021. Well, that tallied up over 42,000 serious adverse events. Many individuals had multiple serious adverse events, and just an overwhelming number of side effects that were not fever and chills, but in fact things you were not told about.
I like how it shows
so
the
number one.
Oh shit, we can click on the placard. Look at that.
In the Pfizer documents.
Damn, look at that. We can actually click on that shit.
Which is muscle pain.
That's crazy.
How many people do you know who just feel bad? Well, Pfizer knew they would feel bad.
I think we got to turn off the landing lights.
The second most common side effect is joint pain, because these injections are inflammatory. And Pfizer knew that. What is arthritis? What is joint pain? Tendon pain, it's inflammatory. How many people
Clicking
do you
on
know
that button
who are
turns on the cross feed.
or had to have knee replacements, hip replacements, shoulder replacements? Young, healthy people, many of them. Pfizer knew. The third most common side effect, as I mentioned, is COVID. But after that, there is a catastrophic industrial scale tallying of horrifically serious side effects, notably heart damage, myocarditis, pericarditis, problems with the aortas, great deal of blood damage, thrombotic thrombocytopenia, blood clots, lung clots, leg clots. These liponanoparticles create clotting in the body. Everyone knew that about lipid nanoparticles before this mRNA, who worked with them. Florid neurological events. Our
hey, what's up, Magna? How you doing, dude? Yeah, man, we got a lot of zombies on board tonight.
Myelin sheath from nerves, which is how electricity is
Them zombies are fucking scary the way they move, dude.
So, of course, you're getting tremors. How many people do you know who now have tremors?
It's so creepy to watch them. Look at that, like how slow they go.
You're getting
and their eyes, it's like their eyes are underwater almost.
Type seizures, horrific neurological events.
What's up, Jesse?
And also autoimmune disorders of all kinds.
Y'all are pale as shit for being down in Guadeloupe.
Now we know these injections damage.
How dare you wear a flannel shirt when you're down in the islands?
Surprise you. A huge amount of eye damage, blindness, eye damage of all kinds. And in addition to all of these side effects, miscarriages, I'll get into the reproductive damage, 1,200 deaths in 3 months.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Not statistically random.
In the 70s, there was 3 deaths for one of those vaccines.
1,200 deaths that doctors,
like 3 or 4 deaths, and they shut the whole thing down.
Or the authorities know needed to be recorded because there was some causality they were.
You don't have to apologize.
other smoking guns. You call this the
Oh, you were Fun
smoking
Stick.
gun.
I got you.
Two of
I was like, who the hell is Fun
our
Stick? I've never heard of them
reports
before.
show, in my view,
What's up, dude? How you been doing?
half of the liver and the stroke serious adverse events took place 48 hours after the injection, including deaths. Pfizer knew this. Okay. Pfizer knew by April of 2021 that minors were being injured by this vaccine, specifically myocarditis and pericarditis.
That is very true. That's why I didn't let my kids take it.
Never before.
I would not let my kids take that shit. No way.
Dropping dead on plane. But what Pfizer knew was that 35 minors had sustained heart damage. Indeed, one of the most scandalous things that our work has surfaced is that the FDA knew, the CDC knew, Dr. Walensky knew by April of 2021. The Israeli Ministry of Health was trying to tell
They were the only ones, the Israeli
CDC
Minister of
and
Health.
the Biden administration, that minors were having their hearts damaged. And
They were the only ones trying to say something, but they were shut down.
For the Biden record.
Which, I mean, I don't blame you. I mean, it's hard to believe Israel on anything.
And we found,
especially with Netanyahu on the helm.
Active conversation, including
Me too, man. I missed the good old days too, my friend.
All the way up potentially to the White House.
Me too, buddy.
15 White House staffers, Dr. Walensky, Dr. Fauci, the head of HHS, all on these communications where they were talking about myocarditis in minors.
We're green
following the
everywhere.
shot.
I kind of want
But
to.
instead
I want to
of
go
saying,
down and.
we have to pull this. We have to tell the parents of America, and by extension the world, that they must save their children and young adults from this risk. They were deciding how to spin a cover-up, and they issued a 17-page document that even after the FOIA is completely redacted, which was a script.
Okay, that's better. That's closer at least. That's 2100 for the RPMs.
3 months summer, telling parents to get their minors injected.
Let's get
and
the map
did a
down.
Big influencer TikTok campaign
About 30.
encouraging young adults and minors to get injected, and they knew that kids would sustain what is often deadly heart damage from these injections.
They knew it.
And in fact, Senator Ron Johnson, now under this administration, is using our work to unredact those documents and to shine a light on that cover-up.
All right, there we go. Now we're closer to 2,000 for the RPMs.
Pfizer knew all of these
and
things,
our manifold
but
pressure is
all
pretty
these
much
side
in
effects,
line.
all
There we
this
go.
Damage isn't the most shocking, surprising thing in the Pfizer documents, and I'll tell you what is. You know, COVID is a respiratory infection, so you would expect a lot of information in Pfizer documents about lungs, about oxygen levels, about mucous membranes. No, there's almost nothing about respiratory issues in the Pfizer documents. What there is a 360-degree obsessive focus on ruining human reproduction.
All right, that's Gerald's Montserrat in front of us.
Ruining fallopian tubes, ruining ova, ruining placentas, ruining
Otherwise
fetuses
known as, I
in
think,
utero,
Antigua.
ruining the birth process, ruining lactation.
No, it's not Antigua, it's Montserrat.
That's what they were studying. That's what they were focused on. And why is that? Why did they take male and female rats, male vaccinated, female unvaccinated, make them sacrifice the rats and examine the cells of their sex organs for a respiratory infection?
I know.
Why is that?
I know.
Overwhelmingly, the focus
Let me
is
tell
on
you.
ruining human reproduction.
I know. If you go back, my health's been good actually. I've been losing weight. I think I've lost 30 pounds in since the beginning of the year. I quit vaping back in February. I haven't vaped since February. I've been doing good actually. Been doing good. Yeah, I feel good. Work's been good. But hopefully you've been doing well. But yeah, the reason why these are focused on reproductive organs for male and female is Bill Gates, who's behind a lot of the patents in this technology, this mRNA clot shot. He came out and said during a TED Talk back in, I think it was 2017 or 2018, that the world has too many people. He wants to control the world's population through vaccines. I saw that when the COVID shots first came out, and because of that, that was the main reason I didn't take the COVID shot, was just because of what he said there. But I have the receipts too. I'd have to find it, but he did say it during a TED talk like 10 years ago. Yeah, you know, I had an incident here one night back in February where I thought I was having a heart attack, and it scared the shit out of me. You know, and I thought about it that night, like, you know, I'm vaping like every 30 seconds to a minute. I'm hitting the vape, and that shit's constricting my blood vessels. So, I really thought I was very close to going to the hospital that night. But yeah, that night I just quit it. I talked to my doctor. He gave me some stuff to help me quit. And yeah, man, I've been using Nicorette lozenges, and yeah, no vaping. That was tough, dude. That was pretty tough. I'm not gonna lie.
So let me just give you some examples.
It's still tough sometimes, but I'm far enough away from it now where I don't really.
It blocks the ovaries, which could contribute
think
to
about
the
it too
menstrual
much
damage
anymore.
that I mentioned. But they also knew, as I mentioned, that the lipid nanoparticles, which are designed to cross every membrane in the body. What is a membrane? The placenta is a membrane. The lipid nanoparticles traverse
let's speed
the
up this
placenta
flight
of
a little
women
bit.
who were told
I don't
in
care
my
what the
country
correct cruising speed
to get
is.
this injection during their pregnancies, violating decades of knowledge about how to not hurt.
They always say, don't give a pregnant woman anything.
But women were told to inject this, traverses the placenta, it causes calcifications in the placenta, which prevent the baby from getting nutrients and oxygen. And in fact, in my country, midwives independently are reporting to me
So the way these shots work, and I said this years ago, but then YouTube took the video down. These shots, they are supposed to stay in your deltoid, okay? But that spike protein goes all over your body, okay? Now, the spike protein is what your body is trying to be trained to get rid of. That's the COVID thing. Yeah, like little, right, exactly. Yeah, like little robots and shit, yeah. Now, there's been studies both ways to show that there is nanotechnology in these shots and there is not. So I don't know if there is really nanotechnology. All I know is that spike protein that makes COVID-19 as, you know, bad as it is for folks, well, it was supposed to stay in your shoulder, but it doesn't. It goes all over your body, but it goes to your major organs: the heart, your lungs, kidneys, liver, your brain. It goes to the placenta for women. It goes to the babies, like when women are pregnant. Well, now that spike protein is there, it's teaching your body to attack it. So anytime it sees that spike protein, it's supposed to attack. So the reason why there was so much, like, you know, you would turn on SportsCenter or ESPN, and like every day you see soccer athletes just dropping, right? You know, soccer athletes, football athletes. Well, that's because their heart got inflamed, had inflammation called myocarditis, and that's an irreversible heart condition. And most of the time they had no idea that they got it, but you know. So yeah, that shit is wild, man. I said that 4 years ago, and every time I said it, I was taken off the air.
To me, as a journalist, when you have multiple independent reports, there's a story there that babies are being born early because the placentas cannot grow normally. And people are nodding. They're seeing the same thing, no doubt, in Europe, or there are reports that the placentas are flat.
Now we have a little bit more freedom of speech in America, like we're supposed to, so not as
oxygen, and
not as
so babies have to be
dangerous of being canceled.
So
I don't care if I'm canceled. I just don't want the video being taken down.
It's not easy to deliver a baby from a mother whose placenta has been impaired. Placentas are falling apart in the delivery process. What does that mean? It means women are hemorrhaging during childbirth.
Yeah, bleeding to death.
Or retaining part of the placenta, which is so dangerous. And so maternal fetal mortality, women dying in childbirth in the
St.
West,
Barths.
which had largely solved this deadly problem of the past.
Yeah, going
other
from
parts of the world,
Guadeloupe
is
to
up
St.
by
Barths.
40% since the injections.
We have a little bit of time. I have like another
Pfizer knew that
40 minutes probably
the
until we land.
nanoparticles would go into the baby.
Yeah, this
and what's a
part of the
membrane?
flight is 60
They knew
miles.
that the lipid nanoparticles would
Until we
traverse
get
the
to St.
membrane around
Kitts.
the testes of baby boys in utero, thus degrading the Leydig cells and Sertoli cells of baby boys of vaccinated moms. Even if the babies are not vaccinated, they're getting this from their moms.
Yep.
So what does that do? Sertoli cells and Leydig cells
We got about 60 miles
are
here.
the factories of masculinity. Hormones, they switch on the hormones of masculinity at adolescence, triggering what we think of as a traditional adult male development, deep voices, broad shoulders, body hair, facial hair, and as an adult, the ability to father a child successfully. Well, we don't even know if these baby boys in utero at adolescence will grow into normal fertile adult males, even if they're never vaccinated with this mRNA injection. But Pfizer
I love that the actual
they were
keypad
damaging
works.
the testes of baby boys in utero. They knew they were damaging sperm. An andrology report confirmed that the injection
Oh, look, we can get charts on here. Look at
killed
that.
and motility
Oh, that is
of
cool.
sperm in men. And to this day, and this is a job for you all, I believe.
Hey, there's our
To
approach.
this day, there's something Pfizer knows about dangers to women in vaccinated men's
Very cool.
sperm
I didn't realize they
that
did
they're
that.
not disclosing. In the Pfizer documents, there's a warning to men who are subjects of the study not to have intercourse if they were vaccinated
Yep.
with unvaccinated women of childbearing age.
That is true.
And if they did, to use 2 reliable forms of contraception.
Mm-hmm.
2, Pfizer defines exposure to the vaccine as including, right, shedding is supposed to be a conspiracy theory, as including
shedding is not a conspiracy
skin
theory.
contact, breath, and
No, we're not too far. We're only 30
body
minutes.
fluids, such as semen. And they, to this day, we don't know
Pretty
what
cool.
that
I like
is,
that they has
right? We
missions
know that
also on
women,
this thing.
Anecdotally, are having horrible cramps,
registration, what the
real
fuck?
problems with when they have intercourse with vaccinated
Here we go.
husbands.
Here's our missions.
We don't know why Pfizer said don't do that. I can tell you one hypothetical a little further on. They told women in the study not to get pregnant. Nonetheless, 270 women got pregnant in the study.
Yeah.
Vaccinated women.
Yeah, this
Now,
game looks pretty good most of the time.
234 of them, the records of what happened
Tell you
to
what,
their
I've been
pregnancy
playing
were lost,
a lot of
which is
Microsoft
illegal.
2024 on my
Pfizer's supposed to
Xbox.
follow them through
This shit looks
pregnancy.
amazing on
However,
Xbox.
of the 36 women who gave birth,
I'm
over
really curious how it's
80%
going
of
to
them
look on
lost their
PlayStation.
babies.
I think it's going to look. I think it's going to look
Over
really good on
80%.
PlayStation.
Pfizer knew that. One of the most chilling things in the Pfizer papers is something called a pregnancy and lactation report. And I'm
Yes.
feeling like the heaviness in the room, and I empathize. You know, this
That
is
is a
very
bad report.
dark news, but I also
I've
wanna
never heard of
say
it before I
there's
listened to
lot
her, but
that
it's a
can
bad
be
report.
done, and you all are in a beautiful position to do it.
I use I'm
So
using
please bear with me for the rest of this
chase plane
darkness,
for the camera.
because,
This chase plane is
you know,
pretty
this
cool.
is very serious, but
Got some cool shit
there
to
are
it.
ways to engage with this information after you have it constructed. The pregnancy and lactation report is an 8-page document that was prepared specifically for the White House and given to Dr. Walensky, to the FDA, to the White House in April of 2021.
April of 2021
Now,
is when
I
they
am
got the info on
daughter,
it.
I'm the daughter and granddaughter of
And
immigrants. but
that
I'm the
year,
granddaughter
right before the summertime, that's when they
two
started
people who
pushing so
lost
hard
siblings
for pregnant
in the
women to take these
Holocaust.
shots, knowing
And that's why
that
I'm
all these
sitting here
pregnant
with
women were having all
today,
kinds of issues.
because
That's just
if that wasn't part of
somebody
our
needs to go to
family's
jail,
history,
like for real,
I
like
wouldn't
not jail, but
understand
prison.
so clearly the importance of raising these
Yeah, I think
warnings and
PS5
calling
Pro would look really good. Yeah,
attention to these atrocities.
I think so too.
I've written about, and I know it's illegal in Germany. Too bad. I'm going to use my American free speech. I'm
Boy,
in
that
a free
flange
place.
on the engine sounds so bad.
I've studied deeply the history of Nazi medicine. As a result, when I saw the pregnancy and lactation report as a
ATIS
Jew
approach,
and as the granddaughter of
pumps on.
people, part of whose family were wiped out by them, this was a very chilling and recognizable document.
Fuel pumps are on auto right now.
It had
This is
charts.
such a good plane. I love this airplane.
Very scientific, neutral.
There's nothing wrong with your
careful
internet,
chart.
by the way. That's just how
Even
this
professional students of history
was
know
recorded.
why I stress
For some
that.
reason,
These careful charts
the
show
audio goes in and out a
horrific
little bit.
damage to women and babies in the pregnancy and lactation report.
All right, we are
There
on
is
our
a
way to
chart
sync kits.
showing menstrual damage to tens of thousands of women 15,000 women bleeding every day after being injected. 10,000 women having 2 periods a month. 7,500 women having no periods at all, meaning they're totally infertile. 10-year-old girls bleeding upon being injected. 85-year-old women bleeding upon being injected. Women hemorrhaging, women passing clots, you know, lives ruined, and certainly fertility ruined.
And nobody believed them when they said they were having issues.
Documented meticulously by Pfizer in the pregnancy and lactation report, which went to the White House and to Dr. Rochelle Walensky and the FDA.
She needs to go first. Her and Dr. Fauci.
You will find comparable charts that went
then
to
Bill
your
Gates
readers
arrest them
across Europe
all
because they were all on the same page. But I'm getting ahead of my story. Also in the pregnancy and lactation report is a chart showing that they experimented on babies and they knew it.
Yes, they did.
They experimented on at least 3 babies to death. Okay? This showed that babies who were nursing from vaccinated moms, these ones had vomiting, and these ones had edema, which is swollen tissues.
They had
and these
poison
ones
milk
had
from their
fever,
moms.
and these ones had failure to thrive. They couldn't gain weight. These ones were inconsolable. I can never get that out of my head. One poor baby went into convulsions after nursing from a vaccinated mom, and then was rushed to the ER and died after multi-organ system failure. Her whole system shut down. What did they know? What is breast milk made of? I learned
that's
this.
King Juan's Peak.
It's made of out of the building blocks of lymph and blood. And so the lipid nanoparticles, the polyethylene glycol that are in the blood and lymph of vaccinated moms are turning into poisoned milk that is poisoning their babies. And Pfizer knew it. And to this day, the women of Europe don't know it. The women of America, for the most part, don't know it unless they happen to have heard me or come up on this book. And so they're so at risk.
It's like the world's worst. Like, it's worse than the Holocaust, really.
Bonding and the immune system has gone from 34% of all babies and moms to 14% of all babies and moms. And babies' first experience, I think we're going to see the damage of this in a generation, of human intimacy is poison. You're going to see
populations go down significantly in probably 20 or 30 years when all these kids are not going to be able to have
so
babies.
This went to the White House, and 3 days later, on April 23rd,
you know how they want us all to be trans now.
Dr. Rochelle Walensky, a mother,
if you can't father kids, you're not really a man.
Gave a White House press conference to the people of my nation,
more trans than you should be.
With this in hand, there's no bad time to get your COVID mRNA injection before you get pregnant, during your pregnancy, or after your baby is born.
It's disgusting.
She said that, knowing this. Lastly, in the pregnancy and lactation report, 2 babies died in utero, and Pfizer concluded that they died due to, quote, maternal exposure to the vaccine. So Pfizer knew that they were going to kill babies, that they were killing babies, and put them at risk. And fast forward, because I need to reach some of the conclusions of my talk. This is very predictable, what would happen. We're now 4 years after the rollout of this injection. And this book will show you this 360-degree attack on every aspect of human reproduction. Well, Igor Chudov, a mathematician,
once we get this Zapata, we're just going to take that straight on up.
Analyzed government databases from about 20 different nations, including European nations.
329 towards St. Martin.
Have lost 13 to 20% of their live births have dropped by that amount. And he calculates that in Europe, there are 1 million missing babies.
Wow, that's a lot.
We analyzed the government data from Canada, another terrible drop in live births. And now there was a big study from the Czech Republic, I believe, that also showed a dramatic drop in live births. And other studies
here, I'll show you what I'm looking at here.
We began to publish in 2022 that vaccinated women are losing their eggs. They don't have the fertility of unvaccinated women. So this happened. This happened. And in spite of every effort,
I'm going to take Zapata all the way up.
Comprehensive of this could have saved
to
so many
here
lives.
and then come
I
on
was
over.
just in Iceland. They
So
are
we need to go
not
on a
at
heading of
replacement level for their own
168.
population.
No.
They now have 1.5 live births
The opposite
for
of
every
168
couple of 2
is
Icelanders will be extinct over time, God forbid, unless this can
308?
be reversed, unless we can study and treat the
Well, no,
infertility
160
that
is
Pfizer and
8.
Their allies brought
No,
about.
348.
So to conclude,
We need to
because
go
I
on a
know
heading
we
of
need to take
348.
questions.
So let's do that.
Why I have concluded very reluctantly that we can't attribute these horrors to, corporate greed, people moving too fast. If someone tries to tell you that, they're lying, right? If it was corporate greed, then month 1 or month 2 of seeing these deaths and side effects, Pfizer would have pulled, and your authorities would have pulled, Britain's authorities would have pulled, Canada's, Australia's, this technology. But they didn't. And by the way, lipid nanoparticles have been known to damage human fertility since 2017, and they chose to use them anyway.
They knew what they were doing.
You can't conclude that this is an accident. You have to
Van Swinkoff.
conclude, since year after year
Who was
after
Van
year
Swinkoff
unfolded,
to get an
knowing
armory
this
named
damage,
after him?
that Pfizer knew,
An Amori.
your
What is an
elected officials
Amori?
knew, your public health authorities knew. This is my speculation.
Never heard of
I
Amori.
made an investigation. Our public health authorities
Heard of
knew.
Amori Povich.
Our elected officials knew.
You're the
FDA
father.
knew.
You're the father. You're not the father.
There was collusion at the highest levels to make this happen. I'd love for it to be an accident or corporate greed, but it isn't. It is a mass murder. And again, I say this deeply knowingly as a Jew, as the granddaughter of Rosa and Joseph Wolf.
Oh yeah, they're
and
stopping a
all
lot of
their
boats
lost
in this part of the
brothers and
world.
sisters.
Oh yeah,
This
I know
is
they're
the
stopping
greatest
boats
crime against
out
humanity
near Venezuela. I don't know about this part of the world, but
just numerically.
yeah,
because
they're
billions of people
in
have been
Venezuela. They're
injected
stopping the
with
boats by
this.
blowing them up.
So I will end
They're
by
like
telling
permanently
you why
stopping
I
boats.
believe it's a bioweapon.
Supposedly,
And
if they're drug
that it
boats,
was
but who knows
deployed, in
when it comes
effect,
to
reduce Western.
who knows when it comes to our
populations of
government,
influence.
what they're really doing.
Number one piece of evidence is research I did that found that in 2021 there's an SEC
The world is
filing,
going down quick,
the
especially
Securities
over
and Exchange Commission in my country.
in Europe. That whole Ukraine deal over
Which
there.
is
I mean, it is the
BioNTech, which is the
globalists'
subsidiary of Pfizer that
plan to get
produced
the
this
Ukraine.
injection.
Like the Ukraine is the
And
crux.
it is
the
a
World War
memorandum of
IV.
understanding, meaning
And
an
that's
agreement,
all
a
they're
legal
trying to do. So,
agreement
because Europe's
that
economy is
shows
failing, the
a
dollar is
partnership
failing.
between BioNTech, which we're told
If
is a
we hit
German company.
$4,000
It's not a German company, it's a German
per
Chinese
ounce in gold, I don't think the U.S.
because
dollar will ever come back to that.
is
And we're
with
really close to
the
that
Chinese
right now.
Communist Party.
But the only way to keep Europe's economy going is through war. And they want to get into an actual
Fosun
kinetic war with
Pharmaceuticals,
Russia.
which is one of the
That is
biggest
the dumbest
pharma
fucking thing. That
companies
will be
in
nuclear Armageddon.
China.
Our world will never be the same. If there's actually a shooting war with Russia and China backing up Russia and North Korea and Iran,
in any major company in China,
the only person who's really stopping the whole thing from
create 1 billion doses
popping
of
off
this
right now is
injection
Trump.
for
Now
internal
Trump winds up
consumption. They
giving
use a different
these long-range
injection in
ballistic
China.
missiles
They
to
built-
the
they
Ukraine. Forget
manufactured
about it.
1 million
That's the same as the U.S. shooting them off themselves.
to Western Europe and North
We
America.
need to stay out of that and just worry about our own borders.
In the SEC filing, it specifies that the IP, intellectual property of the injection,
The reason why
is to be
the
transferred.
world, the
It doesn't
globalists
say
hate
to a
Russia so
Chinese
much
individual.
is because
It
they're
doesn't say
really
to a
the
Chinese
last
company.
country where
It
it's
says
predominantly
to
white Christian
China.
people.
So since
And they don't like
2021,
Christianity, they don't like
if
Jewish
you're
people, they
taking
want everybody to be
an
trans
intervention that was
and Muslim pretty much.
formulated, manufactured, packaged, distributed by people.
Oh, look how cute those
have stated
wind
that
turbines
they
are.
wanna
I'm
be
sure
the
glad they
world's
got them there to
hegemon
kill all
by
the birds and
100 years after the
that's one of the
independence
dumbest
or the establishment
sources of energy
Chinese
ever is
Communist
wind
Party.
technology.
And who have made war on the West in many other ways.
I was kind
And
of
I don't
for it
think they're working
until
alone. I think there's
Texas years
alliances
ago
and levels that
had
we discussed, but
a
just
situation
from
where
my
like
knowledge
they were frozen
that
for like
our
2
enemies
weeks,
are making
like the
this
Dallas area
injection.
or Austin or something like
Also,
that, and all they had to generate power were wind turbines, and
deployment,
it wouldn't even
again,
power
is
like
random.
a
There
fraction
are
of the
11
city
manufacturing
had power.
plants in
That was it,
Western Europe,
and they had
14
tons
now
of
in
wind
North
turbines.
America.
Plus the material to make them
But
and keep up on
side
repairs,
effects are
you
not
might
random.
as well just
And again,
continue to use
me
coal.
as a journalist rather than as a
Sweet,
doctor,
beautiful
this is
coal.
Very important evidence. of the
looks
almost
pretty fucking good.
43,000 serious adverse events in the Pfizer papers, they're not randomly distributed around the world.
St. Kitts is up next up here.
They're localized in Western democracies. And not only that, but this really caught my attention as a political consultant. The greatest number of serious adverse events are in the countries with the most influence in Western democracy.
Yep.
So over 42,000 in the United States.
It's a good little airplane, man. I like this thing.
Tranches of serious adverse events in European
I remember the
countries
first time
in
I flew this
December of
airplane, I was like, Dad, why aren't the wheels going up? Like, I kept on like trying to put the wheels up, but
Germany,
I guess I wasn't smart enough to realize the wheels don't go up on this airplane.
Italy, Spain, Greece.
Not at first.
In that order. And then
They
all
fly
the
this
rest of the
airplane a
world, the
lot
other 52
over on the
countries
northeast of
the world
America.
combined
Boston Logan,
amount
Martha's Vineyard, Toronto,
about
like
7,000
Cape Air
adverse events.
flies a lot of these airplanes.
And what I want to tell you is that it's very easy to
So I guess
target
Amori is
the
another
value
name for an
damage
airport.
of these injections
All right, that's
by
good to know.
manipulating things as simple and serious damaging particles as Pfizer, but Pfizer has more DNA contamination, as it's been discovered, or by manipulating things as simple as temperature. You remember that it was supposed to be, this material is supposed to be kept very, very cold, and then you stopped hearing about that. The materials coalesce at room
There was never any
temperature and at
package
warmer
inserts
temperatures.
either for this shot.
So I can't
Like usually when you
perceive
get your
that, right?
medicine, how
This
they
is
have an
beyond
insert
what's
that you
in
can
the
read. There
Pfizer
was
papers.
never an
As a
insert for
journalist,
this thing.
In spite of being called a conspiracy theorist worldwide, I do what I've always done, which is I stick to the facts. I don't go beyond what the evidence provides. But that evidence
let's
to
see if
me
there's
requires
a-
investigation.
Let me see if I can find another
How
good video to
do
watch right now.
take something that easily is manipulated to target populations, and you have these terrible losses and damage and infertility
What else
in
did I
Western
watch recently that
nations.
caught
So I'll
my
stop
eye?
there. We can talk about what I think it means that
Let's see here.
other plotting maybe, but I will note, if I have a minute to conclude, that if you look
Hey, let's watch
with
Senator
this
Kennedy. He
analysis at who
is-
got mandated, certainly in my country, but I believe throughout
He's
Western
great.
Europe.
Let's
But
let
in
me
my
get his.
who got mandated? It was people, and
All right,
you have
we'll
a
watch
right
something
to
a little more
subpoena them.
lighthearted.
You have a right to see them. So what's preventing Europeans from seeing what's in those texts?
Let me answer that. That would be our despicable Ursula von der Leyen, who is corrupt to the very core of her being.
Sure.
She simply refuses to.
You're surrounded
give
by
out
wind
those
turbines,
texts.
man. I feel so sorry for you,
She's
man.
been,
Gotta be a lot of dead birds
admonished
around
by
where you
so many
live.
authorities, whether it was the ombudswoman or whoever it was.
What do you want me to do? Me to book a flight? Sure. I don't have the P-2012 where I live either. I'm quite a bit south of Boston, so yeah, I'd like to book one too. I like to get on one and see how it like feels in real life. I've never been on an airplane that small before.
Well, the
All right, see guys, look what I'm doing. Subscribe.
Melodrama
like.
continues.
This guy is great. Senator Kennedy.
I love the smell of melodrama in the morning. It smells like the United States Senate. I said the other day that this shutdown is just further proof
And we're probably gonna have to start
that human
descending here pretty
evolution
soon.
is a slow process. This shutdown, what you're witnessing
At the
now,
top of descent.
is just further proof of
Right, and
about why it took
See what this
human
chart
beings
says. We probably have to get
thousands
back
of
down to about
years
2,000 probably.
to learn how to stand upright. This shutdown is bone
Yeah, he's
deep,
very good, Kennedy. Yeah.
down to the marrow.
He calls it like it is,
Stupid.
which I like. I don't
Some
care what side of the
shutdowns are
aisle
based
you're
on
on. I want you to be truthful and call it like it is.
Some shutdowns are based on politics. Some shutdowns are based on a combination of both.
Okay, let's see if VNAV
This
works.
one is pure.
Oh,
It's
looks like
pure
it might
as
work.
ivory snow. This shutdown is based on politics.
It is, because they want to give free health care to all the illegal aliens.
believe in a
How come it's not showing any wind speed?
I believe.
There we go. I know I turned the motherfucker
two
on.
parties create competition, and competition makes all of us better. It does. The Democratic Party, the opposite of my party, the Republican Party. The Democratic Party is competing within itself right now.
Yes, it is. It's been doing that for
years.
years.
There's a distinct wing of the Democratic Party that is winning that competition. If I wanted to use a pejorative
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez part.
The loon wing of the party. The loon wing of the Democratic Party.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've begun our descent into St. Bart's. Please return your seats and tray tables to their full upright position.
I think a more accurate description is to call it the socialist wing of the Democratic Party. I think that's fair. Now, I'm not saying that all of my Democratic friends are socialists, but there is clearly a wing of the Democratic Party that can only be described accurately as the socialist wing of the party. And that party is in ascendancy. That party is in control. Now, my friend Senator Schumer is the leader of the Democrats in the United States Senate.
Not really.
And he, of course, has instructed his colleagues to vote to shut down.
He's calling for outright, like, terrorist kind of action in America right now, Schumer.
And I understand. I don't agree
because they're trying to indict Letitia James, who she ran. Her campaign was run on her saying many times, I'm going to get Trump, I'm going to put him in jail. I don't care what I get him for, I'm going to put him in jail. That's all she's trying to do. And so she made up all them charges on him, and they stuck because they had Soros-backed Democratic judges.
Loved by the socialist wing of the party, and I do think that's part of what is motivating this shutdown, and that's why I say it's all about politics. But I don't think Senator Schumer's the person.
Not in this dimension.
Because Senator
maybe in a different dimension.
Not the leader of the socialist wing of his party. Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez is. She's running the show.
I think it would be great if there was some place where people were actually happy with the way it's run. I don't know, maybe Switzerland.
You really want to negotiate at the end of this shutdown.
Maybe Tahiti. I don't know.
Come see me. And I think any fair-minded person has to look right now and say that the two.
There's a racetrack down there.
The quarterback, the two leading members of the socialist.
It's like a horse track down there, or like a dog track or something. It could be.
Ocasio-Cortez. Now her substitute is Senator Bernie Sanders, but I think it's the Congresswoman who's.
Still don't know why I have these boxes here. I thought that was off.
Mr. President, I don't hate anybody. I've said that repeatedly, and I mean it. I like all of my colleagues.
Let me see if that's off.
Wherever I can find it. When I say my prayers, I
have sworn that was supposed to be off.
Every single time, I ask God, don't let me hate, because it's hard sometimes.
And yeah, see?
It's hard up here.
It's supposed to be off.
I say, God, don't let me hate.
Weird. And that's something I need to turn off in this system here.
Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez. I want to make that very clear. She has the right to her opinion. She has the right to try to have the socialists take over the Democratic Party. That's the American way. Ironically, I think what she's doing is anti-American, but she has the right as an American.
All right, we're at 2988.
But I judge her by her policy. She has her opinion and I have mine. And I have to judge her candidly by her policy. Here is what the socialist wing of the Democratic Party, led by Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, has said to the American people and to the United States Congress and the Republicans.
Yeah, it is some sort of track.
If you Republicans don't agree to make the federal government $1.5 trillion, not million dollars, not billion dollars, $1.5 trillion.
Trillion.
We're going to shut government down.
That's crazy, man.
Well, of course we said no. I'm not going to vote for that.
I think you're right. It is in the settings somewhere.
My mother didn't raise a fool. And as I've said before, if she did, it was one of my brothers. I'm never going to vote for that. Now, where do I come up with this figure of $1.5 trillion? Well, the first thing that the socialists
now let's turn
and Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez is asking us to do
that blurriness here. I wonder if I need to turn that one setting off again.
Reforms in the one big beautiful
secondary
bill.
scaling.
We just passed them. We just passed them. Here it is, Subtitle B, Health, in the one big beautiful bill. Now we didn't.
It's not a big beautiful bill, by the way. I don't care what Trump says. There's a lot of pork in that bill.
Medicaid is going to
not as bad as it could have been, but
over the next 10 years. Now what we did by reforming Medicaid,
let's go into heading mode.
Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez wants us to reverse. We cut out the waste and the fraud. For example,
we need to get on the heading of 348.
We found out that there are, no kidding, I'm not just making this up, we found out that there are 2.8 million people on Medicaid who are double dipping in America.
Mm-hmm.
They're either signing up for Medicaid in Louisiana and Mississippi.
I don't know how they can do that. That shit is wild.
Medicaid in Louisiana, and they're signing up for the Obamacare subsidies.
How do they not get in trouble? Like, how the fuck does that happen?
Our bill,
if I tried that shit, I'd get thrown in jail.
And it would save about $140 billion.
That's a good idea. I don't know, Magnum.
The socialist wing
You're
of the
probably taller than me. I'm like 5'3", so or 5'4". You're probably taller than me. No, seriously, I wonder if you stacked $1 trillion in coins.
Reforms in the one big beautiful
would
bill.
it be like higher than the atmosphere? Like, would it be out into outer space?
You've got to stop lying when you apply for Medicaid. Under President Obama, we had virtually no eligibility checks. People could walk in and the Medicaid folks would say, how much do you make a year? And they could say $30,000
That is true. I used to do that.
Okay, you qualify.
I did that before.
I trust people. I've said it before on this floor. I play cards with my friends all the time. They're friends. I cut the cards anyway. We have found, for example, just in Louisiana, we did a statistical sample of the people on Medicaid in Louisiana. Our auditors found 1,600 people on Medicaid making $100,000 a year or more. That's
Antilles is over here, nothing Antilles.
So our bill put an end to that. Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez and the socialist wing of the Democratic Party want us to put it back. They want to let people cheat.
Once I get kind of lined up with, see, I wish I could put coordinates in.
In this $1.5 trillion.
I don't think you can put. No, I can't put coordinates in this thing.
People who can work to work. We put a provision
because there's coordinates I can put in for the waypoint, but I don't think I can actually put in coordinates.
That says, look, if you're between the ages of 19 and 64,
oh yeah, identity, facility, or
yeah,
no.
We're not talking about a mother with a sick child in her arms. You're able-bodied, you're perfectly healthy, and you don't have any dependent kids at home. Then, if you qualify based on income, we'll give you Medicaid, but you have to work. You have to work 20 hours a week or go to school.
Dude, there were so many people that when Trump canceled some of this stuff, they were like, the government just fired me. And they were like, well, we didn't have a job. We were just getting benefits. This one woman was getting 10 grand a month from the state, from the federal government and the state.
What's wrong with that? Those who can't work.
She was getting like 3 grand a month for housing, free electricity, like 4 grand a month for food.
Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez
and she could work.
And the
she was just choosing not to.
Of her party want us to reverse all of that. What?
Hey Siri.
What else do they want us to do?
How tall is it if you stack $1 trillion in coins?
Well, they're upset at us.
Wow. Over 870,000 miles.
The Affordable Care Act. Now, let me tell you what all this is about with Affordable Care.
How many miles is it to the moon?
Under Obamacare, if you are a low-income American,
wow. So it would be past the moon, $1 trillion. Thanks, Siri. That'd be
if you
are $1 trillion in coins.
You have a job, then chances are
right. Yeah, that shit is crazy, man. That's like
Most
5 times as far as the moon.
But if you're in the middle, you make a little more money than the poverty level, but you can't get insurance.
All right, we are going to make our turn here pretty soon.
We provide what's called the Obamacare exchanges. So when we talk about the Obamacare subsidies, that's what we're talking about. It's about 24 million people. And it was meant for people, for lower income people. Up until 2019, it was all for low income people. And then in 2019, without any Republican votes, President Obama said, look, we're in a pandemic. We're going to raise
26
the
miles to...
We're going to say there are no income limits on Obamacare
St.
paid
Martin.
for by the taxpayer. We've got 24 million people on Obamacare. When they raised the limits, you could make any amount of money and still get a subsidy. That added about 1.6 million people.
What's going on with
Obamacare? Obamacare was meant for people who make from roughly $30,000
the long-legged Mac Daddy,
$130,000 a year. Families
with white women and black women.
Now, because President Biden,
first time you saw Obama was on a pair of big old double D's.
$600,000 a year.
Yeah, long-legged Mac Daddy.
$150,000 a year. Families making $200,000 a year.
I like that guy, that Reverend.
Getting
I forget his name now.
from the American taxpayer. Why? Because they said we needed it in the pandemic. The pandemic is over. And that's why the Democrats, when they passed the bill, put in a provision that says...
All right, there's St. Bart's there. Maybe we'll start trying to fly manually.
Those extra subsidies are going to end. Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez says no. Until you agree to let them continue, to let anybody at any income level get subsidies, we're going to shut government down. That's their third demand.
I don't know how expensive stuff is where you live, but man, in America, this shit is crazy over here nowadays. I'm sure it's not much different where you're at.
Is saying we...
all right, let's turn all the air conditioners off.
Give $500 billion.
Let's put the pumps back
not
on.
Not $500 million. $500 billion. We want
and
to
landing
give
lights back on.
$500 billion to the Corporation for Public Broadcasting because we like what they say. Well, we just eliminated money for all forms of media in the Affordable Care Act. Now, those are the demands. Those are the demands. I'll just mention, I'll mention one more. Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez got very, very upset, as did the socialist wing of her party, when the president sent over what's called a rescission package. Basically, President Trump just said, we want you to take some stuff out of the budget.
That's how it works. You're supposed to be able to negotiate.
And we did. And that upset the Congresswoman.
She's
entitled to be upset if she wants to.
Got her feelings hurt.
That really upset the socialist wing of the party. And so we took out, and here's what they want us to put back in. We found that under President Biden, they were spending $3 million for circumcisions and vasectomies in Zambia.
What?
We took that out. The Congresswoman says, we're going to shut down government until you put that back in.
Gives a fuck about the circumcisions in Zambia.
We found $500,000 of American taxpayer money for electric buses in Rwanda.
Again, who gives a shit?
We found $3.6 million for pastry cooking classes and dance focus groups for male prostitutes in Haiti. I kid you not. I'm not making this up. It was in the budget under President Biden. We took it out. Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez in the socialist wing, the loon wing of the Democratic Party, says we're going to shut down government until you put it back in. I'll just read you a few more.
Let's turn off the yaw dampener.
They are demanding we put back in $6 million for media organizations for the Palestinians, $833,000 for transgender people in Nepal, $300,000 for a pride parade in Lesotho, $882,000 for social media and mentorship in Serbia, $4.2 million. We took it out. The Congresswoman and the socialist wing of their party says we've got to put that back in for the open government. $4.2 million for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and intersex people in the Western Balkans and Uganda.
Who gives a fuck? Why are my tax dollars paying for that shit?
We took all that out. It upset Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez. It upset the socialist wing of her party. And now that wing of her party and the Congresswoman are threatening all other Democrats and saying, you got to shut that government down until we get what we want. And part of what they want is to add this kind of stuff back into the bill. And that's what this fight is all about. We're in the process of negotiating a budget with our Democratic friends. We ran out of time. The cutoff was midnight Tuesday night.
Right.
That's when the
Eskimos wanted chocolate chip, and the Republicans didn't want to spend the extra money for chocolate chip ice cream. So,
is to let's continue to negotiate. We, meaning the Republicans and the Democrats, for 6 more weeks and try to agree on a budget. That's all we're asking. We're not asking for any additional appropriations, any conditions, any stipulations. All we're asking for is what we call a clean.
I think I need to line up with those islands, those 2 small islands, if I remember correct.
And Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, who has done a stellar job in rising to the leadership of her party as a member of the socialist wing. They're about to elect a socialist mayor of New York. I think Mr. Mamdani's going to win.
I can't believe if he wins, New York is in trouble.
Let's just continue the status
quo. If Mamdani wins,
6 more weeks. They said we'll give you 6 more weeks if you
he
will
is
give
straight
us
up
1.5
against America. That is for sure.
That's what they're demanding, and that's why we're shut down. Now let me say it again, Mr. President. I don't hate anybody. This is America. I sure don't hate the Congresswoman. She is entitled to her opinion, but I'm entitled to mine. And she can criticize my
criticize.
But I'm entitled to criticize hers.
Damn right, Kennedy.
And I'm here to tell you, Mr. President, in front of God and country, based on her policy positions that she's demanding, based on her policy positions that she is demanding, that I just outlined, $1.5 trillion of pure, unadulterated spending porn. Based on that demand, based on her policy positions, the American people are looking at her and saying, this person has single-handedly put an end to dumb blonde jokes. Because that is the craziest thing I've ever heard.
All right, let's
based
go.
On her policy positions,
laps 1.
$1.5 trillion of this kind of spending porn. The American people are looking at the Congresswoman and saying, with respect, she must be bilingual. She must speak English and stupid. And that's why we're not agreeing to it. Now, I know
Kennedy is great.
Every one of my Democratic colleagues, and I know more than half of them know better. They know what we're asking for is reasonable. I'm just asking them to meet us halfway. We're not asking for any additional provisions. They shouldn't ask for any additional provisions. And let us just open back up and continue to negotiate for 6 weeks. Don't be scared of the Congresswoman. Don't be scared of the socialist wing of your party.
It's true.
I suggest the absence
Most Americans are not socialists. Good job, Kennedy. I love when he talks, man.
Subcommittee Senator Kennedy of Louisiana.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I think this is probably going to be the same thing we just listened to, but
Americans may be poorer under the Biden administration, but they are not stupid. They know what's going on here. I remember the Democratic leader's words of March 4th, 2020, on the steps of the United States Supreme Court, like they were yesterday.
I'm not really sure if I'm lined up with the runway or not. I think I am.
He said. Not Justice Gorsuch. Gorsuch. I want to tell you, Gorsuch. I want to tell you, Kavanaugh. You have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price. You won't know what hit you if you go forward with these awful decisions. Wow.
Oh, I almost had a perfect landing.
Just wow.
Oh well. Damn, we almost landed.
I think Matthew 12:36.
I think if I was using my flight, I couldn't adjust the trim, but I think if I was using my flight control system, I got to use that next time, man. Next time I land into St. Bart's.
Condemned.
Oh well. Can't win them all, but we were close. We were close. All right, I'm getting out of here. I got to get up super early tomorrow. I got a doctor appointment first thing in the morning. I got to get up at like 6 in the morning tomorrow, so I am not looking forward to that. But I might be back tomorrow night. I might be. You never know. If I do come back tomorrow, I'll be using the flight control for sure. It's hard on when you have the Xbox controller and you're trying to fly with chase plane on, like I can't adjust the trim. I think if I would have been able to adjust the trim a little bit just now, I think we would have been able just to skirt right past that. And it would have been a good landing, but you know what I mean? I am human, so we can't land everyone good. Yeah, good night, Magnum. Good seeing you again. And that's about it, my friends. I will see you on the next episode of the Airplane Show. Keep searching for the truth and keep waking up, because, you know, we are in the Matrix. As soon as we wake up and realize that steak is not actually steak, we'll be a lot better, I think. Anyways, see you next time. Hit like and subscribe. See you.